Hello everybody, my name is Mathis and welcome to Stellaris. I have been so excited to bring this game to you guys and I'm so happy I can bring it to you days before its launch. It will be launching on May 9th. And Stellaris is a game I've been looking forward to for quite some time. If you don't know what Stellaris is, really quickly, it is Paradox Development Studios' take on the 4X genre, which I guess kind of was coined with the first Master of Orion. It's about taking your fledgling space empire and spreading across the stars, whether you deal with other aliens through diplomacy or war, dealing with planets and the people who live on those planets, maybe they're primitive species, researching technology, just becoming one of the most powerful species in the known galaxy. I'm so excited because I love these types of games. I don't know what the audience is going to be on the channel for this, but I'm just so pumped to play. I just don't care. So we're going to start a new game. I'm going to go out of my way to try and describe as much as I can. I've put a few hours into the game prior to playing just so I had a grasp of the mechanics and I'm not left floundering wondering what's going on. And as we play, I'll be showing you and teaching you to the best of my capability. So we're going to start a new game. And the first thing we're going to do is build a new empire together. Over here, you're going to see 8 pre-built empires from the game, and my suggestion, if you've never played a game like this, would be playing maybe the United Nations of Earth and just play them for a couple hours. Don't even play a full campaign with them. Just grab them and go play with them for a bit. Go through the basic tutorial bot that kind of he shows up on your first game, learn the ins and outs, and then come back to the empire creator and make your own empire. I've already made one of my own empires. Like I said, I played this game a little bit. It's the Skrek Devourers Imperium. Basically, I made a race all about spreading as fast as they can, enslaving others or destroying them if they got out of the way. They're fanatic collectivists and materialists. We'll talk about this maybe later. But we're going to start a brand new empire, and I know what I want to make for this particular playthrough. It should be a fun one. I hope it'll be a fun one. So here's how this is going to work. You start an empire and you start right at top with appearance, and you go through each one of these and create your empire the way you want it to look and act and all that good stuff. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make an empire. Now, I'm going to make a Mammalian empire, and the reason I'm going this route is because, man, Star Fox was terrible this year. It was a bad game. I didn't enjoy it very much, so we're going to improve it by making our own Star Fox game. We're going to be playing foxes and going on with them. So we'll be picking the fox people as our race. Next up, we're going to take a name. And these guys are going to be, what do we want to call them? This is the Vulps. The Vulp space. And then the Vulpines. So, Latin for fox. And then adjective will be Vulpin. So we're the Vulp species, call us Vulpines, and we're Vulpin. And very simple, fox. Next, we choose the name. So these names are basically what's going to end up being popping up as leaders spawn. So in the game, leaders are generated, they're born, they die, and names will be pulled from this pool. Now, Star Fox is all about being animals with human names. So we're going to go with humans. We've got and Svetlana. Let's go with these. Human 1. So these we'll be foxes with human names because that's just how it makes sense. So these will be the names that we pull when they create a leader. These will be planet names that they pull, fleet names for fleets, and ship names that they pull for ships. And we could add like a prefix and it'll show up before the name of the ship, but I'm not going to add a prefix to it. So pretty simple. Human names for our fox friends. Now here's the next thing that's really important. When you build a race, you have to pick traits. These traits will basically, on a basic level, just give your race a bonus to start with as how things are going to work. Since we are playing fox creatures and, we're playing in a new Star Fox universe, the fox creatures are very intelligent. They're great leaders. So what I'm going to end up doing is making them relatively good leaders to start. Basically, leaders do gain levels in the game. They can start from level 1 and go up to level 5 or 6, I believe, depending on the traits you pick. And the better the leader, the bigger the bonuses, and the easier certain research projects and certain randomized events will end up being. So, say my science vessel has a level 3 leader in it. He could come across a space anomaly, and it could be a relatively complicated space anomaly, but because he's level 3 and not level 1, he has a much better chance at figuring out what's going on in that space anomaly than a level 1 would have. So let's go through all of these traits and talk about what ones I'm going to end up taking and what ones I'm not going to end up taking. So first is agrarian. It gives us 15% more food. basically, food allows our planets to grow and populate themselves. Without food, the population gets stunted on a planet, and we need to make sure there's more food. So this kind of helps alleviate that problem. Thrifty, we gain more money, basically. Industrious, more minerals, which is good, basically are the main resource we use to build buildings and ships. Intelligent is more engineering output, physics output, and society output. Those are the 3 branches of research. So quicker research, better research. Natural engineers, natural physicists, and sociologists. So basically, intelligent is a base 10% across all 3, or we could pick one of them for a plus 15. Also, these numbers over here, we'll talk about them in a minute. We're just going to go through these bonuses. Extremely adaptive, habitability plus 20%, and habitability plus 10%. So basically, this will allow us how easy it will be for us to adapt or inhabit a new planet that we end up colonizing. Something we'll see pretty early in the game. Non-adaptive is we're worse at adapting to other planets. Rapid breeders, growth time is minus 10%, so we pop out population much faster, or 10% faster at least. Slow breeders is 15% slower. Talented, leader skill levels are +1. Quick learners, leader experience gain is 25%. Slow learners, minus 25%. So basically, leaders level up faster, and they get skill levels and extra skill levels when we start. Strong and very strong is basically we get more minerals, and our ground armies are going to end up being stronger. Weak, ground armies are going to be 20% weaker. Nomadic, resettling from one planet to another or migrating from one planet to another is faster. Sedentary is the other way around. Communal, we are just generally a happier people. We're communal people, we love being around others. That's that. Solitary, less happiness. Charismatic, other species are happier when they deal with us because we're a very charismatic race. Repugnant, other way around, we're very ugly. Conformist, ethics divergent is 20%. Basically, when we integrate other alien races, which we may end up doing over time, having them in us is not, having them as part of our empire is not going to cause as much of a problem, basically. Venerable, leadership lifespan is 120 years. Basically, our leaders live a very long time. Enduring is 30 plus years. Decadence, resource output without slaves, is minus 10%. And resilient, garrison and fortification defense is higher. So, what I'm going to end up taking here, because we're good leaders, and what I want is like a good leader-ish type of thing, is talented and quick learners. So, that's going to cost us 3 points. So, these numbers basically right here dictate how many points it's going to cost for us to take these traits. On the left, you can see we have trait points left to spend, only 2. So if I was to take talented, I have no more points left to spend, and I can't take another trait. In order for us to offset that, we need to take something that's going to give us a point, a negative trait. Pretty simple idea to understand. This idea has been used in many, many games. Project Zomboid actually uses this particular game. I'm going to take non-adaptive, so we're not very good at adapting to other worlds, but that's not a huge deal. And then with that, we're going to take quick learners. So leadership experience gain is actually 25% faster. So we're a fast learning species of leaders. Also, the game also limits you to taking 4 traits total, including negative traits. So we can't just like load up on negative traits and take all of the good traits that we want. So that's going to be our species right here. We're talented and quick learners, but we're not really adaptive when it comes to habiting other planets. I was thinking of like maybe we could take weak, but 20% army strength could be bad. And I mean, the Fox people, I mean, we're weak, but we're good pilots, man. So, you know, we're a warfaring group when we need to be. All right, the next thing we do is choose our leader. We're going to be Mathis McCloud. There you go. And I'm going to choose, I guess, what color do I want to be? Doesn't really matter. So this is our very first ruler, and the very first ruler we're going to have is me. Now, depending on the government type we end up choosing, it'll determine whether I am in it for the long haul or if we have a re-election every few years. And for clothing, I think I'm going to take this one. It's like slightly combative, but it's also slightly regal. I like it a lot. And now we choose the planet we start on. The homeworld name and the star name. Well, the star name, we're in the Lilat system. So we're going to say Lilat. And our homeworld, oh god, is Lilat the name of the planet that they start on? I can never remember. Let's check out. What planet is Star Fox from? Let's find out. Our Wikipedia. Lilat as a system As a star which all planets lie. That doesn't tell me shit. It actually is not telling me garbage. I like this is actually a Wikipedia for Star Fox called the R-Wingipedia. If we can go to, okay, great. Don't worry guys. Tell me, it's giving me an ad real quick. List of locations. That's what I want to see right there. Hook a brother up. Arpoid, Homeworld, Aquis. No, I remember that. Area 6, Black Hole, Bols, Serenia, Corneria. Okay. Corneria. That's where we're starting. Now, Corneria is typically a continental world, if I remember correctly, but we're going to change that up a little bit. So basically, we get to choose what kind of world we start on. And the starting world we choose will basically determine how easy it is for us to habit and colonize other planets. So for instance, if we start in a continental world, continental habitability is 80%. So it's much easier for us to take over and colonize on other continental worlds, which makes total sense. Where the further down you go, like tropical habitability is only 60%, same thing with ocean, then desert and Arctic is 20%. So it's much harder for us to colonize those worlds than it is to colonize like a continental world. But I'm gonna go a little bit crazy and I'm gonna change it up. In this world, Corneria was destroyed by an ice weapon? I don't know. We're going on an Arctic world. That's what we're gonna be. We're gonna be Arctic preferences, where Arctic worlds are easier to habit. Ocean and tundra habitability is 60%, continental worlds 20, arid habitability 20, and we can't even touch, it looks like, some other ones. So, and there's all kinds of things. There's arid worlds, desert worlds, ocean worlds. All of this is interesting, and it gives you a little rundown as to why, as to what they are. But we're gonna go with the Corneria homeworld of the Arctic world. Then we go city appearance. We get to choose what kind of city we want. Pretty basic choices. I'd love to see different choices later. There's a lot of customization in this game, don't get me wrong, but we're gonna stick with Mammalian City because we're mammals. Now we get to pick our government, and much like picking traits for a race, picking traits for traits basically, or ethics for a government, is going to really dictate the kind of play style you're gonna want to go with. We'll go through all of these different ethics and talk about what they do, and then I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna pick. So, we've got militarists. It's basically, alliance influence cost is 50% more, so we're not very good at getting alliances going, but we're good at making rivals, and we get more influence by rivaling people. Army damage is up 10%, and when we're in war, war happiness is up 5%, so our people really like war. And these little orange things above these particular ones are basically upped versions of those particular government things. So we have militarists and fanatic militarists. At the bottom, you can see ethic points. Each green one takes up 1 point. So if we're gonna take militarists, we are taking 1 point to spend it. But if we pick an orange one, like fanatic militarists, it's 2 points. So you're basically gonna have 3 green or 1 orange and 1 green, depending on what you want. So that's militarist. Then we have xenophobe. Xenophobia is plus 10%. We don't like other aliens, but we're okay with having alien slaves. And of course, we could, if we wanted to, have fanatic xenophobe, which is more so we're okay with slavery. Individualists, energy credits, so we make more money being individualists, but we don't really tolerate with slaves, and our ethics divergence is plus 5. So we don't like slavery. However, we also don't like dealing or taking in other alien races, and we can be a fanatic individualist as well, which ups that. Materialist. Physics, basically with materialist, our research goes way up, which is nice. Pacifist is maximum embassies plus 1. Think of embassies like diplomats in CK2 or EU4 rather, where you send an embassy off to an alien race to make them like you better, where we're basically trying to broker peace between the two, and it'll increase their happiness with us over time. Rivalry influence game minus 25%, so we don't do well going to war basically. So if we declare a rival, we don't get nearly as much influence as we would otherwise, and influence is a resource we'll have to manage basically. Army damage down 10%. Pop modifier, food is 10%, war happiness is minus 10%. So we're all about spreading love and growing, but never fighting. And there's a fanatic version of it as well, which doubles all of that. Xenophile, which is xenophobia, is minus 10%, and fanatic xenophile, fanatic xenophile. So we like other people, which is, I think, what I'm gonna end up taking here. Collectivists, slavery tolerance plus 50%. And then food consumption is minus 5%. So we get slaves and we don't eat as much food. And then we've got spiritualist. Happiness is plus 5% or plus 10%. And then that's the end. So the way I'm going to play this is, you know, we're wily, right? We can fight when we need to. But we like other people. We want to be peaceful foxes. So I'm going to take Fanatic Xenophile. We are all about just going into the stars and meeting other people. Now, outside of the base bonus, this also is going to mean a few other things as we play the game, and we're going to see what those are later on. But I have 1 point to spend, so I don't know. What do I want to spend it on? It'd be hilarious if I took Xenophobe. We're Fanatic Xenophiles, but also Xenophobes, which would make... No, oh, no, we can't actually take it. Okay, that makes sense. Diametric opposites. All right, that'd be hilarious if it would let me. I'm thinking either Happiness, Materialist, or... Why don't we just take, we're Spiritualists. Fanatic Xenophile Spiritualists. These are the people who think it behooves us to remember how tiny we are, how pointless our lives in this vast, uncaring universe. What nonsense. So we're all about going to the stars, and we have a spiritualist kind of belief about it all, I think. And because these are the two we chose, it unlocks particular governments we're allowed to choose. So the next thing we're going to be, now that we are Fanatic Xenophile Spiritualists, we're going to be heading over here and choosing what kind of government type we are going to be playing with. We have 6 to choose from because of the government choices we picked. We have a Theocratic Republic, which allows an ethics divergence and core sector planets, which we could talk about later. That's not huge right now. I don't think any of these are going to be very important because of the way I want to play. Ethics divergence and leader recruitment cost is going to be cheaper if we chose Theocratic Oligarchy. Or Divine Mandate, slavery tolerance, and resettlement cost. No, we're not going to worry about Divine Mandate right now. Maybe for another race and another playthrough, having a heavy slavery outlook would be kind of interesting. I think we're going to stick with Indirect Democracy. Basically, holds an election every 5 years to select a new ruler. Leader skill levels +1, so again, our leaders are going to be much stronger, which is kind of the way I've gone to this particular race. And leader recruitment cost is going to be -10%, which is nice. We also have Plutocratic Oligarchy, election every 40 to 50 years, and we just get a flat bonus of extra money and extra minerals. And then a Despotic Empire, which looks like it's no re-election. Building cost is cheaper, slave mineral output is higher, slave food output is higher. We don't have to worry about it, we don't have slaves right now. So I think Indirect Democracy is going to work the best with how we want this to work. So now what we're going to do is name our empire. We're going to be the Vulpine it's going to be the Sovereignty, but I want to spell it correctly. Sovereignty? I think that's how I spell it. Here, let's look for it. Hey, that's not working as well as I'd like. Usually it actually do it. I want to make sure I spell it correctly. And mind you, I should know how to spell it, but let's just make sure that I actually spell it correctly. So let's check the good old Google. Sovereignty. Yeah, that's exactly. I was spelling it right. The Vulpine Sovereignty. Vulpine. Cool. All right, and then we pick our flag. So, with our flag, we're gonna go zoological, I think, because we are mammalians. I think this little paw works well. And what kind of colors do we want to choose? Secondary color. A black and orange? I kind of like black in general, but it could be like green or orange, or the gray. I want to do gray and orange with a paw in the middle. I like it. So now we get to choose our starting weapons. And this is kind of a rock, paper, scissors-ish kind of thing. Projectile weapons do really good at blasting away at shields, chewing away at shields, but they're limited in their range. Energy weapons are very good against armor, and they're effective at medium to close range. And missiles are kind of like good at both, but they need to be far away. They're very bad against interception and point defense systems. I think because we're foxes, lasers is the way to go, man. Then we get to choose our FTL way to play, which is basically easy, medium, and hard, depending on what you want to do. So this is interesting because of the way how I want to end up playing. So warp travel is pretty simple. It's going to allow us to travel to any of the stars within our warp travel range, but it's going to take time to get there. It's going to be slow. Hyperspace travel, we are not going to be able to go to every star we see unless there's a hyperspace lane that connects the two stars that we're traveling between, which means you know, we might not be able to explore a star really close if there's no hyperspace lane there. However, if there is a hyperspace lane there, it is basically instant. It's much faster than warp travel, but warp travel has much more, I guess, leniency in what you want to do. And then wormhole travel is incredibly complicated, and I'm looking forward to playing with this, but I'm not confident in my ability to play with it yet. Basically, wormhole travel is neither of those. In order for it to work, we have to have a wormhole station at the star we are at and the star we want to go to. And it's much more strategic, and you're going to be spreading your empire in a much more interesting and weird way. But I'm going to go ahead and pick warp travel for our first playthrough because it's going to allow us to kind of see and do everything we want to do. And then we pick our ship appearance, and since we're mammals, we'll go ahead with the mammalian one. We've got all the other ones here. Boom, and there we go. The Vulpine Society. Red lasers with warp travel. We're talented, non-adaptive, and quick learners, and we're fanatic xenophiles and spiritualists with an indirect democracy, working in our Arctic world of Corneria in the Lilat star system, and we look kind of awesome. So we'll go ahead and save this. So, now that that's done, we can go back and take a look at our races. I'm going to show you what my Skrek Devourer Imperium that I created. Basically, what these guys are all about is spreading, enslaving, and just kind of spreading like an insect, I guess, like wood. We're fanatic collectivists, where we love slaves, and we're militarists, so we go and fight as much as we can. We're rapid breeders and adaptive as well, but we're also repugnant. This is a race I'm looking forward to playing more of when I have the opportunity, but for now, we have this. We also could take these races and, if we want, say, you know what? Go ahead and if you want to get crazy game, grab this empire and put it in the game and control it as AI. But you don't have to. Or we could say, no, you absolutely have to. We're gonna force you to have the AI play this particular empire. Or we're gonna say, empire spawning forbidden. Don't want this particular race that I made in the galaxy. Please don't ever do that. It scares the shit out of me. We're just gonna leave this on. Like, maybe they'll pull the Skrek Devourers. I don't know. It'll be interesting if they do, and I don't know what I would do if they did. There'd be war, I think. But that'll be fun. So we'll hit select, and the next thing we're gonna do is pick the map. So I'm gonna go a nice large map of 800 stars. It's also gonna be elliptical in shape. We could also do spiral or ring, but I like elliptical. And we're gonna crank up the number of AI empires to 25 empires, I think. And we're gonna bring this down by 1. So basically AI empires and then an AI advanced starts. We can basically assume AI advanced starts are 5 species that are slightly, and I do mean slightly, ahead of us in technology. They've been in the stars for a few years longer than we have. They have a few more minerals and a bit more research, but they're not crazy powerful. Difficulty normal, hard, and insane. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it on normal. Allowed FTL method. We could actually force everybody to use wormhole, hyperdrive, or warp. We're going to go ahead and say any. And then Iron Man mode means basically, you know, I can't save it when I want. We're going to leave Iron Man mode off for now in case I fuck up super bad. And we're going to hit play, and we're going to let it generate the game and see what it looks like. And there we go. The Vulpine Sovereignty. In the eons since the first primitive Vulp communities took shape on the snow fields and ice caves of Corneria, our civilization has spread and prospered. We were driven forward by steady scientific progress, and armed conflicts between nation-states became increasingly rare. The framework for a global democratic government was eventually laid, and when the last holdouts voluntarily joined, we stood united as a single nation. Now, after the successful creation of several experimental subspace fields, the finest minds of the Vulpine Sovereignty have finished development of the first warp drives. The stars themselves are finally within our grasp. Welcome. Nope, I could use, let's just do tips only. Okay. Welcome to the Lilat system. I'm excited to play, but we're going to stop there. I'll have a new episode up for you guys very, very shortly, and I look forward to seeing you then. Bye-bye.